Chapter 26. And when Jesus had come to the end of all these words, he said to his disciples, After 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man will be given up to the death of the cross.
耶稣说到这一切话的时候，就对门徒说：过了2天是逾越节，人子要被交在十字架上受死。
Then the chief priests and the rulers of the people came together in the house of the high priest, who was named Caiaphas. And they made designs together to take Jesus by some trick, and put him to death.
这时，祭司长和百姓的官长都聚集在大祭司的家里，那人名叫该亚法。他们一同设计，要用什么法子拿住耶稣，把他治死。
But they said, Not while the feast is going on, for fear of trouble among the people.
但他们说，不能趁着节期，因为怕众人闹事。
Now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came to him a woman having a bottle of perfume of great price, and she put the perfume on his head when he was seated at table.
耶稣在伯大尼的时候，在长大麻风的西门家里，有一个妇人拿着一瓶贵重的香水到他那里去。他坐席的时候，妇人就把香水涂在他头上。
But when the disciples saw it they were angry, saying, To what purpose is this waste? For we might have got much money for this and given it to the poor. But Jesus, seeing it, said to them, Why are you troubling the woman? She has done a kind act to me.
门徒看见了，就怒气冲冲地说：这有什么用呢？因为我们本可以用这东西得许多钱，分给穷人。耶稣看见了，就对他们说：他对我有恩惠，你们为什么烦扰他呢？
For the poor you have ever with you, but me you have not forever. For in putting this perfume on my body, she did it to make me ready for my last resting place.
因为穷人你们常在身边，我却不常在，因为他在我身上涂着香水，是要叫我预备好了，到我最后安息的地方。
Truly I say to you, wherever this good news goes out in all the world, what this woman has done will be talked of in memory of her.
我实在告诉你们，这好消息无论传到哪里，这妇人所做的事必被人谈论，以纪念她。
Then one of the 12, who was named Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, What will you give me, if I give him up to you? And the price was fixed at 30 bits of silver.
这时，12个人中有一个名叫加略人犹大的，到祭司长那里去说：我若把他交给你们，你们要给我什么呢？价钱就定在30两银子。
And from that time he was watching for a chance to give him into their hands. Now on the first day of unleavened bread the disciples came to Jesus, saying, Where are we to make ready for you to take the Passover meal?
从那时候起，他就看准了机会，要把他交在他们手里。到了无酵饼的头一天，门徒来见耶稣，说：我们在哪里为你预备逾越节的筵席呢？
And he said to them, Go into the town to such a man, and say to him, The master says, My time is near, I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus had said to them, and they made ready the Passover.
耶稣对他们说：你们到城里去找这样一个人，对他说：主人说，我的时候近了，我要和我的门徒在你家里守逾越节。门徒就照着耶稣的话去做，预备了逾越节。
Now when evening was come, he was seated at table with the 12 disciples, and while they were taking food, he said, Truly I say to you that one of you will be false to me.
到了晚上，他和12个门徒坐席，他们吃东西的时候，他说：我实在告诉你们，你们中间必有一个人对我是假的。
And they were very sad, and said to him, one by one, Is it I, Lord? And he made answer and said, He who puts his hand into the plate with me, the same will be false to me.
他们很有意见，就一个一个的对他说：主啊，是我吗？他回答说：凡把手伸进我盘子里的，也必亏待我。
The Son of Man goes, even as the writings say of him, but a curse is on that man through whom the Son of Man is given up. It would have been well for that man if he had never come into the world.
人子去了，正如经文所说的那样，但人子借着他被供出来，那人就受了咒诅。那人若不曾到世上来，倒也不错。
And Judas, who was false to him, made answer and said, Is it I, Master? He says to him, Yes. And when they were taking food, Jesus took bread and, after blessing it, he gave the broken bread to the disciples and said, Take it, this is my body.
那假冒为善的犹大就回答说：主人，是我吗？他对他说：是的。 他们吃东西的时候，耶稣拿起饼来，祝福之后，把掰开的饼给门徒，说：“你们拿着，这是我的身体。”
And he took a cup and, having given praise, he gave it to them, saying, Take of it, all of you, for this is my blood of the testament, which is given for men for the forgiveness of sins.
他又拿起杯来，赞美了，就递给他们，说：“你们都拿着吧，因为这是我立约的血，是为人赎罪的。”
But I say to you that from now I will not take of this fruit of the vine, till that day when I take it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And after a song of praise to God, they went out to the mountain of Olives.
但我告诉你们，从今以后，我不再取这葡萄树上的果子，等那日我在我父的国里和你们一同取新的。他们唱了赞美上帝的歌以后，就出去到橄榄山。
Then said Jesus to them, All of you will be turned away from me this night, for it is said in the writings, I will put to death the keeper of the sheep, and the sheep of the flock will be put to flight.
耶稣对他们说：“你们今天晚上都要离开我，因为经上说，我要把看守羊的人打死，羊群的人也要被赶走。”
But after I am come back from the dead, I will go before you into Galilee. But Peter made answer and said to him, Though all may be turned away from you, I will never be turned away.
但我从死里复活以后，要在你们前面到加利利去。彼得回答说：“众人虽然离弃你，我总不离弃。”
Jesus said to him, Truly I say to you that this night, before the hour of the cock's cry, you will say 3 times that you have no knowledge of me.
耶稣说：“我实在告诉你，今天晚上鸡叫的时候还没有到，你要3次说你不认识我。”
Peter says to him, Even if I am put to death with you, I will not be false to you. So said all the disciples.
彼得对他说：“我就是和你同归于尽，也不对你作假。”众门徒都这样说。
Then comes Jesus with them to a place named Gethsemane, and says to his disciples, Be seated here, while I go over there for prayer. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and became sad and very troubled.
后来耶稣同他们来到一个地方，名叫客西马尼，对门徒说：“你们在这里坐着，我到那边去祷告。”他带着彼得和西庇太的2个儿子，就忧愁起来，十分烦恼。
Then says he to them, My soul is very sad, even to death. Keep watch with me here.
就对他们说：“我的灵魂甚是忧愁，甚至到了死的时候，要在这里守着我。”
And he went forward a little, and falling down on his face in prayer, he said, O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup go from me, but let not my pleasure, but yours be done.
他往前走了一段，俯伏在地祷告说：“我父啊，若是可以，就叫这杯离开我，但不要照我的意思，只要照你的意思。”
And he comes to the disciples, and sees that they are sleeping, and says to Peter, What, were you not able to keep watch with me 1 hour? Keep watch with prayer, so that you may not be put to the test. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is feeble.
他来到门徒那里，见他们都睡着了，就对彼得说：“怎么，你不是能和我守望1小时吗？祷告守着，免得你们受试探。灵真是预备好了，肉体却软弱了。”
Again, a second time he went away, and said in prayer, O my Father, if this may not go from me without my taking it, let your pleasure be done. And he came again and saw them sleeping, for their eyes were tired.
又有一次，他走了，祷告说：“我父啊，这东西若不从我身上拿去，愿你的意思成就。”他再来的时候，看见他们睡着了，因为他们的眼睛疲乏。
And he went away from them again, and a third time said the same prayer. Then he comes to the disciples, and says to them, Go on sleeping now, and take your rest, for the hour is come, and the Son of Man is given into the hands of evil men.
他又离开他们，第3次做同样的祷告，然后来到门徒那里，对他们说：“你们现在继续睡觉，休息吧，因为时候到了，人子被交在恶人手里。”
Up, let us be going. See, he who gives me up is near. And while he was still talking, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a band armed with swords and sticks, from the chief priests and those in authority over the people.
起来，我们走吧，看那把我交出来的，已经近了。他还在说话的时候，12个门徒中的犹大来了，和他同来的还有一帮拿着刀和棍子的人，都是祭司长和管辖百姓的。
Now the false one had given them a sign saying, The one to whom I give a kiss, that is he, Take him. And straightway he came to Jesus and said, Master. And gave him a kiss.
那假的给了他们一个记号，说：我给谁一个吻，就是他，你拿去吧。他就直奔耶稣，说：师傅，就给他一个吻。
And Jesus said to him, Friend, do that for which you have come. Then they came and put hands on Jesus, and took him. And one of those who were with Jesus put out his hand, and took out his sword and gave the servant of the high priest a blow, cutting off his ear.
耶稣对他说：朋友，你要做你来的事。他们就来按着耶稣的手，带着他。与耶稣同在的人中，有一个人把手伸出来，拿出刀来，给大祭司的仆人一刀，把他的耳朵砍下来。
Then says Jesus to him, Put up your sword again into its place, for all those who take the sword will come to death by the sword. Does it not seem possible to you that if I make request to my Father he will even now send me an army of angels?
耶稣就对他说：你把刀重新收起来，放在原处，因为凡拿刀的，必死在刀下。我若向我父请求，他现在就派天使来，这难道不是可能的吗？
But how then would the writings come true, which say that so it has to be? In that hour Jesus said to the people, Have you come out as against a thief with swords and sticks to take me? I was teaching every day in the temple and you took me not.
但这样一来，那些说必须如此的经文怎么会成真呢？那时候，耶稣对众人说：你们拿着刀和棍子出来，像贼一样要拿我吗？我天天在圣殿里教训人，你们不拿我。
But all this has taken place so that the writings of the prophets might come true. Then all his disciples went from him in flight.
但这一切都发生了，好叫先知的话语成了真。于是门徒都从他那里逃跑了。
And those who had made Jesus prisoner took him away to the house of Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and those in authority over the people had come together.
那些囚禁耶稣的人把他带到大祭司该亚法的家里，文士和掌权的人都在那里聚会。
But Peter went after him at a distance, to the house of the high priest, and went in and took his seat with the servants, to see the end.
彼得却远远地跟着他，到了大祭司的屋子里，进去和仆人同坐，要看结局。
Now the chief priests and all the Sanhedrin were looking for false witness against Jesus, so that they might put him to death, and they were not able to get it, though a number of false witnesses came.
现在祭司长和公会的人都在寻找不利于耶稣的假见证，好把他治死。虽有好些假证人来，他们也没有得着。
But later there came two who said, This man said, I am able to give the temple of God to destruction, and to put it up again in 3 days.
后来有2个人来说，这人说，我能够把神的殿给毁了，3天后再把它立起来。
And the high priest got up and said to him, Have you no answer? What is it which these say against you? But Jesus said not a word. And the high priest said to him, I put you on oath, by the living God, that you will say to us if you are the Christ, the Son of God.
大祭司就起来对他说，这些人说你是什么，你不回答吗？耶稣却一句话也不说。大祭司对他说，我指着永生的神叫你起誓，你要对我们说，你是不是基督，是神的儿子。
Jesus says to him, You say so, but I say to you, from now you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power, and coming on the clouds of heaven.
耶稣说，你说是，但我告诉你，从今以后，你要看见人子坐在权柄的右边，驾着天上的云降临。
Then the high priest, violently parting his robes, said, He has said evil against God, what more need have we of witnesses? For now his words against God have come to your ears, what is your opinion? They made answer and said, It is right for him to be put to death.
大祭司就猛然分开他的袍子，说，他已经说了反对神的恶言，我们还需要什么见证呢？因为现在他反对神的话已经传到你们耳中了，你们有什么意见呢？他们回答说，把他治死是应当的。
Then they put shame on him, and were cruel to him, and some gave him blows, saying, Be a prophet, O Christ, and say who gave you a blow.
他们就羞辱他，对他很残忍。有人打他，说，基督啊，你要做先知，说是谁打你的？
Now Peter was seated in the open square outside the house, and a servant girl came to him, saying, You are with Jesus the Galilean. But he said before them all that it was false, saying, I have no knowledge of what you say.
有一个女仆来见他，说，你和加利利人耶稣在一起。他却在众人面前说，这话是假的，说， 我不知道你们所说的。
And when he had gone out into the doorway, another saw him and says to those who were there, This man was with Jesus the Nazarene. And again he said with an oath, I have no knowledge of the man.
他走到门口，又有一个人看见他，就对在那里的人说，这个人和拿撒勒人耶稣在一起。他又起誓说，我不认识这人。
And after a little time those who were near came and said to Peter, Truly you are one of them, because your talk is witness against you.
过了一会，旁边的人过来，对彼得说，你真是他们中的一个，因为你的说话就是对你的见证。
Then with curses and oaths he said, I have no knowledge of the man. And straightway there came the cry of a cock.
他就骂骂咧咧地说，我不认识这人。就有鸡叫的声音传来。
And the word of Jesus came back to Peter, when he said, Before the hour of the cock's cry, you will say 3 times that you have no knowledge of me.
耶稣的话又临到彼得，说，在鸡叫的时候，你要3次说，你不认识我。他就出去，痛哭起来。